day 3 of connecting my students. It was the third day. It went very well. It was pretty easier today because we had just 3 video calls. And the first one being with Beverly Ladd, who is phenomenal with Skyping and all things like that. And she is from Wilmington, North Carolina, and she has a second grade class. And we actually did some prep work. We probably started talking about this maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and we came up with a plan where our classes were going to do some choral reading together. And then she had a group of students that had been working on a Reader's Theater puppet show that they would share with us. And then we would have time for the students to ask questions with each other. So we kind of came up with a little script that we went back and forth on with working on. I had students introducing our class and telling Bev's class about our school and our town and the weather and things like that, and Bev had students do the same. And then we had picked out 2 poems that we had the students read together. Each class alternated reading a line of the poems, and that was very fun. And then we watched Bev's group do the Reader's Theater, which was phenomenal. And then the kids got to ask questions, and that's always the best part, just to hear what they want to know about each other and where they live and things like that. And before we called Bev, we, again, had looked on Google Earth like we have been for a lot of the other classes and noticed that they live pretty close to the ocean, where exactly they were located in North Carolina, whether or not it looked like their city and town was bigger or smaller than ours, all those kinds of things. And the Google Earth really helps the kids, be able to visualize. We do the street view to see what different streets we were able to actually see their school building, those kinds of things. So before we even connect with Bev and her students, we have a good understanding or an idea of what it's like where they live, and we can see what's the same as where we live and what's different. That was a very special Skype call, and I think all of the students enjoyed it, and we got pictures with each other standing by the board and being on the laptop and things like that. So one thing I want to add, though, again, we did have some technical difficulties where Bev was getting a lot of feedback from us, and that's one of the things that happens, and we talk about it to the kids. I did turn the microphone off while her class was doing the Reader's Theater, just to try to help with that feedback issue. But Bev rolled with it and we rolled with it, and you just kind of do what you have to do. And everybody had a very good time with it, and you could tell that the kids really enjoyed it. So that was fun. So then after that, right away, we ended up having a mystery Skype. A 4th grade class came in at 9:10 for me. And we had a mystery Skype with Catherine Preston, was with a 4th grade social studies class. She's one of the tech teachers in her district, or at her school, Creekside Elementary, and they're from Harvest, Alabama. And again, a little bit of issues. It's real funny with Skype calls. It can be so hit or miss. And today it just seemed, I don't know if there were weather issues or how that all works, but there seemed to be a little bit of a delay, and the noise, the sound wasn't great, but it worked. And again, the kids did a great job with it, and we guessed each other's states. And at the end, it was very funny because we shared how we were building a new school, and they too are also building a new school. And those students from Alabama asked us if we had any portables, and all the students in my class were like, "What?" And there was even a paraprofessional with us at the time in my class, and she didn't know what a portable was. I know what a portable was or is, and so we were able to learn what a portable was. And Catherine actually took us outside because the class she was with was in a portable, and went outside with her laptop so we could see what the portables looked like. And that was our time to kind of go ooh and ah and be so surprised by things. And then once we finished up the call, we again went to Google Earth, and we were able to see their school. And sure enough, we were able to see all the portables that they have in their building. So that, again, was a good time. And then I had a little break because one of the things that can happen when you're trying to schedule video calls and connecting your students to others is that time zones can be very confusing. As much as we think we're all adults and we all understand the difference in time zones, many times on both ends, I've gotten confused with time zones before and made a mistake and scheduled things at the wrong time. So I was supposed to be doing a Skype call with Brian Sutton and a kindergarten class at his school in Rochester, New York for one class, but that ended up didn't working, but it was okay because then Brian and this kindergarten class were able to participate in the next class video call, which was at 1 o'clock, and that was with a second grade class of mine. And then I just love this. It was with a pre-service teacher. So Sarah Grayburn is a student at Grove City College in Pennsylvania, and her professor is Sam Feisch. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her last name right. And her professor, Sam, has done a fantastic job with her students in connecting them to mentor teachers online through Twitter. And this semester for the class, students have to do some sort of a community service project or some kind of a service project. I'm not exactly sure all the details of it, but she told her students that they could do Corey Tellers as their project. So there are quite a few students that have signed up to read to classes this week. And Sarah was the first. And unfortunately, we did have to shorten her session a little bit because we had an assembly. But it was fantastic that she and Brian Sutton were willing to be so flexible because we had a Skype call then between the three of us. So Sarah was reading to both my second grade class, and then she was also reading to the kindergarten class that was with Brian. And so before we made this call, my second grade students and I looked up both Rochester, New York, and Grove City, Pennsylvania. And again, we had some technical difficulties where Brian and his class dropped out for a while. We called again. I believe he was able to hear Sarah the whole time. But it was just neat. I just love the idea of a pre-service teacher, someone who's not in the classroom regularly yet, but can still be provided with these types of opportunities of interacting with students and reading aloud to them and, asking them questions and things like that. So I just thought that was the neatest thing, and I'm looking forward to the other college students that will be reading to other classes later this week. So overall, a very successful day. As usual, tech, you never know what's going to happen, so you just kind of have to roll with it. And, sometimes hang up and call back and see if things can work. And usually they do, and sometimes they don't. And you just have to kind of keep the chaos down a little bit with the students and remind them that this is what happens. And it doesn't mean that you have to get all crazy. So looking forward to day 4 tomorrow.